today we are speaking to best-selling author Sonia Ricotti all about what you can do if you feel like you've hit rock bottom. She is known for helping people bounce back with her incredible programs all about how to be unsinkable. Welcome.
Thank you.
So this is such an interesting topic because I think all of us in our lives have found ourselves in that place where we think, I don't know if I can hit. I think I hit rock bottom. And in that state, when things are going so bad, what is some tip that you found to be really helpful in those really dark moments?
Well, there's so many things you can do. And the truth is we've all hit rock bottom at some point in our lives. I mean, things happen in life. And, you know, the big question is, how do you handle them and how do you bounce back as fast as possible? And so the first thing I say is to really recognize that this too shall pass. And so, you know, if you're going through a difficult time right now, just recognize, I know it's tough right now, but just recognize that great things are waiting for you around the corner. And to really be able to start shifting how you're seeing your situation. So if you're not feeling good, and let's say you're sitting there and you're thinking, I'm really sad, I'm really angry, I'm really depressed, I want you to realize that it has nothing to do with what's going on in your life. So often we think, let's say I'm in a marriage and my husband leaves me, and I'm saying to myself, I'm really sad and angry right now because my husband is leaving me. And that is not the reason why I'm feeling that way. The reason is what's going on in here. So we have something that happens outside of us, and then we feel something. And we assume what we're feeling in that moment has to do with what's going on outside of us. But that isn't true, because something happens in the middle. And what happens is you have a thought about what's going on outside of you, about the situation you're in. Those thoughts that you're having is what's causing you to feel the way you do. And that's why you can have 10 different people going through the exact same situation and have 10 different reactions. It's because what's going in here is something completely different with each person. So what can you do? If you're feeling sad or depressed, the first thing I recommend is just ask yourself this question. What am I thinking about right now? What are my thoughts? And recognize what I'm thinking right now is causing me to feel the way it is. And then ask yourself, what I'm thinking, is that really true? Because we make up stories, right? You're telling yourself a story about what's going on in your life, or what someone did to you, or what's happening. And the truth is, it's just a story. It's your interpretation of what's going on. So it's time to change the story and say to yourself, okay, what version of this story can I recreate? How can I change it in a way that will make me feel better?
Now, what would you say to someone who objects and says, well, I have to be upset because if I'm not upset about this bankruptcy, then I'm not going to have that power, the fuel to make something different. If I'm not upset about my father being in the hospital, then it means I don't really care, I don't really love him. A lot of times we feel like we're meant to be upset when something outside of us happens that's bad. So what do you say to someone that has that type of objection?
Well, what happens is that when you're feeling upset, because your dad's in the hospital, which has happened to me, and when you're feeling upset because you're in debt, which has also happened to me, you know, what ends up happening is you're generating negative energy. So yeah, you might be thinking, I should be feeling this way, but in reality, it's not helping your situation if you're trying to bounce back quickly. Now, what I'm saying is that it's not bad to feel bad when something bad's happening. Mm-hmm. It's okay to release it and let it go rather than holding it in.
To acknowledge it.
Acknowledge it, experience it, and then release it. I mean, if you're releasing it for 2 years and you're still miserable and sad, you're doing it wrong, okay? First of all. But the truth is, it's okay to release it. But if you really want to shift it quickly, the sooner you release it, the better it is. And a great way to do that is actually reframing what's going on. So for instance, when my dad was in the hospital, I was devastated. And I did cry. And I cried, like I remember I had to go find a room in the hospital where nobody was there. And if somebody were passing by that room, they would have sworn that somebody was killing someone. Like I was crying, like sobbing. And I just released it. And I gave myself permission to feel what I was feeling. And then I let it out. And then I said, okay, now what can I do? And I said, I can't really do very much. I'm not a doctor. But what I can do is accept the situation the way it is.
Absolutely, and I can see just how well tapping fits in with
Yes.
your teachings. And so I think you're saying a really important point that I want to reiterate is that it is about giving yourself that moment, but are we giving ourselves these moments and then just living in them and not moving past them?
Right.
Or are we just giving ourselves this moment and being like, I'm going to cry for this amount of time, and then I'm going to reframe this? Because I think it's so important to know, and you're mentioning it, if you're not in a better state, you can't find the solutions.
Exactly.
There's opportunities all around us all the time, but we can't see them.
That's perfect. That's perfect. Because what happens is when a negative thing is happening, and when you give yourself permission to play the victim or permission to feel sorry for yourself, you're still in control. You say, you know what, something bad's happening, I'm going to let myself release it and allow myself to cry. And you will feel such a release once you've done that. And then give yourself that permission. And once that's what I did with my dad. And then immediately after that, I'm like, okay, like you kind of brush yourself off and go, okay, what do I need to do now? And I'm like, there's not much I can do right now. So what will help me change this interpretation around what's going on? And the truth is, this is out of my control. And I surrendered to what is. I surrendered to the fact that this is going on. I could resist it. I could say it shouldn't be happening, but the bottom line is it is happening. And so what are my options? Well, I can either resist it and be miserable or accept it. And once you accept it and surrender to it, you'll see a whole bunch of clarity. Just all of a sudden, it's like the sky just opens up and you have a sense of peace inside you. And that's what happened to me. And so what ended up happening is I said, okay, so obviously I'm not a doctor, so I can't help that way. What can I do? I went to my community and I asked them to pray for my father. I went and I was doing the healing codes, I was doing all kinds of stuff, tapping, I was doing all kinds of stuff, and really did everything I could possibly do, but I came from a place of peace. And when you come from a place of peace and surrender, and when I say surrender, I don't mean give up. Right. I mean just accepting things exactly the way they are and exactly the way they aren't. You immediately shift your energy. And when you shift your energy, you can manifest great, wonderful things into your life.
Such a great point, because we think, don't accept it, fight through it, push, work harder. But you're saying that there is such a power in just surrendering and saying, yes, this is happening, I accept it, and then it gives you that power to move forward.
And not only that, it feels a lot better when you accept it than when you resist it. And what's amazing is that my dad not only got out of ICU, but he recovered 100% back home, and he's great. So that's, a great plus as well. The same thing with debt, by the way. You mentioned debt, because I know a lot of people nowadays are going through difficult financial times. And let's say you're $10,000 in debt. Instead of saying, oh, I'm $10,000 in debt, I can't believe it, how am I going to get out of it? I shouldn't have lent Mary Jane that money, I'm in a bad situation. You just say to yourself, you know what? I'm $10,000 in debt, period. No story around it. It's not good, it's not bad, it just is. And by just accepting the fact it is the way it is, can you not see how you're able to release that negative energy? And once you release that negative energy and the skies open up, there's clarity. And once there's clarity, the opportunities and ideas and the solutions to your issue or problems or debt, all of a sudden, you're able to clear it. Right. And you're able to manifest money into your life and get out of debt a lot faster, rather than, what I like to say is this: anytime you resist what's going on in your life, all those negative thoughts in your mind, it's equivalent to staring at a closed door. Not only is it closed, but it's locked, and you're not going anywhere. As soon as you're able to step away from that closed door, you look around you and you notice there's so many open doors all around you, and those are doors of opportunity. And those doors of opportunity have always been there. You just chose to rush to that closed door and stay right there and just stare at it, say, this shouldn't be happening, I can't believe it, I'm so angry, my life is miserable, all these things. And unfortunately, it's hard to bounce back when you're coming from that place. And so the bottom line is release it, take the time to release it, and then step away from that closed door. Shift. Just completely shift how you're seeing your situation. Surrender to what's going on. And then notice all the signs around you. There are whispers coming to you in all directions, telling you how you can move forward and get around that corner where your greatest life is. but you need the skies to open up and really gain that clarity to be able to do that.
Well, and this is the reason I love talking with you, because like I've said before, your work goes so well with the tapping, with that beginning, that setup statement, even though this is how I feel, I love and accept myself.
Right.
So I'm happy that we got to chat with you, because it gives us all a deeper understanding to the power of that phrase and why taking that approach is so effective. So I want to thank you. I mean, I know you're an incredibly successful author and you're very busy, so I'm so grateful that you chatted with us. And now I want to ask everyone that's watching this, please share your aha moments. What are you now willing to accept, and see how that changes your life? Comment below and you can win a copy of Sonia's book. Until next time, everyone, take care and keep tapping. Today we are speaking to best-selling author Sonia Ricotti, all about...
Stop.
Oh my God.
That's perfect.
I told you! It was like
That's great.
Shalane.
That's great.
So now when you say it, you say, and now we're talking to best-selling author Sonia Cheese.
Yes, Sonia Cheese. Perfect.